Welcome to Your Success Podcast. We give you actionable insight and stories behind real-life success wherever you go.
Welcome to Your Success Podcast, and happy 2020, everybody. I'm Angelos, and today I'm joined with Jackie Tomes. Welcome, Jackie.
Hi, Angelos.
So, Jackie, new year, new you, all that kind of stuff.
New decade.
New decade. Where's the time gone? That is just amazing that we're in another decade. So, let's start this decade out as we mean to go on, right? And I think it's really important for people who are at home maybe thinking, God, I've had a crap previous decade. I really want to make a big difference these next 10 years. And I want to make sure that I leave this decade and enter the 30s in a lot stronger, a lot better position than when I started it. And I guess the change has to start today, listening to this podcast and listening to our chat together. So today we're going to be talking about creating a strategy that works for you to really help improve your life, whether that's business, personal life, whatever it may be, property, whatever. And the principles of creating a strategy works for all of these areas. So first thing I'm going to ask you, Jackie, is it's a hypothetical. I know where I'm going, so why do I bother? Why do I bother creating a strategy? Why do I bother writing it down? Can you tell us the importance of actually having a strategy, a clearly defined strategy, so that you can actually launch yourself off into a really good trajectory as opposed to just bumbling along and hoping for the best?
Yeah, absolutely. So understanding, you're right, you may know what you want to achieve, but I think not many people really know in a lot of detail what they want to achieve. And so when I talk about what you want to achieve, I define that as your vision. And so within your vision, what exactly does that success look like? If you went to 2030, what is Vision 2030 for you? What would be happening in your life and in your business to say that you have been successful in what you're doing? And the more granular detail you can put into that, the more you can actually start actioning that today, because you don't just get your head down and work really, really, really hard for 10 years and then wake up magically one day having this wonderful vision life. In reality, it's a journey to start getting there, starting now. And there'll be some small elements of your vision that you can probably implement over the next 3, 6, 12 months. You don't have to wait until 2030 to make it happen. So I think that's an important point to make first of all. And the second part is one of the big challenges, I'm thinking particularly about business owners here, is prioritization. It is overwhelming how much there is to do. There are so many different elements to running a successful business. And if you just look at what you're ultimately wanting that business to look like and you don't know what the priorities are in the short and mid-term to help you get there, it's easy to kind of become paralyzed by the sheer volume of tasks and jobs that you need to do. And so that is the key to a great strategy. It's having a great big plan, big vision, but it's also about saying, what are the really simple steps really in the next 1 month, 3 months that I'm going to take towards getting to that point in 2030.
So it's important to write these things down, though, Jackie, isn't it? It's important to visualize them. I know we talked about the vision before in previous podcasts, but can you just explain to people what a vision board is and how that can really help crystallize these abstract thoughts that you may have and actually make you write it down and see it on a day-by-day basis?
I think the act of actually writing things down really helps to clarify what you're thinking and what you're doing. Now, it depends. Like some people, vision boards really work for them. Like if you're a very visual person, going and getting images that represent the things that you're aiming for can really be a great motivational tool. For myself personally, as long as I've got it written down, that's enough for me. But I think having it, I'm really a big fan of like a strategy on a page because it makes you not just write it down, but be really concise, because it's so easy to waffle on and not really be clear about the various elements that make up your business, that make up your business plan. And therefore, if you're not really clear and you can't summarize it in a sentence or two, whoever you're trying to explain it to is not going to have a clue either. So I think that act of writing things down and writing it down in a concise way, it's not easy and it takes time, which is why most people don't actually do it. But when you do, it just cuts out all the noise. And particularly I'd say in property, which is the industry we're in, there's noise everywhere. Everyone's got a new exciting opportunity, and it's easy to be caught up in other people's opportunities if you're not clear on your own. And if you've got it written down, you're something that you can hold yourself to. And when opportunities come your way that don't fit, you can more easily say no when your plan and your vision is committed to paper.
Yeah, because it can act as a filter, right? So, for example, if you're doing property development and you're looking to build up these amazing properties, but then someone comes along with a completely different strategy and it goes through your vision filter, does it really match where you want to be? Does it match what you want to do on a day-to-day basis? It may be highly lucrative, but if it doesn't align itself with your vision and your decade plan, shall we say, it's probably best not to focus on it at this point. Be aware of it, but don't allow it to divert you away from achieving your vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, and I think in property, we all need to do more of this. And that is to say, what does success look like in property for me, for my business? And what do the people that are my customers, whether that's your tenants or people who are buying properties from you, what's the experience that they're having by coming and working with us in whatever form that is? And I think we all need to be asking ourselves this question more. There's a reason a lot of people in property investors, as a species, as a segment of society, as a race of people, we have a very bad reputation. And I think it's often because people get into property purely for financial reasons. But what is the reason beyond that? Like, what are you wanting the experience for people who work with you to be like? And maybe there's something even beyond property that you want to be able to do or to make a difference in. What does that look like? So I think if we can all keep asking ourselves that question and forge towards something that's bigger than just saying, I want to make 10 grand a month or whatever it may be, it does two things. One, it helps to lift the whole industry because we've got people who are doing more than just being out for themselves. But actually that does serve you too, because if you've got a vision that's much bigger than you, when the tough times come, when cash flow is tight, when a project falls out of bed, when someone lets you down, if you've got a vision that is bigger than you, it really helps to drive you through those times and to keep going. Otherwise, what can happen is if it's just about you, once you've got to that point that you've covered what you need financially, you're probably going to lose interest. But we want something that's going to inspire us and keep us going for, many years beyond that and make a difference to the wider world and the community too. Because
you can keep revisiting your vision as you grow, as you achieve things, you can tick things off and you can add new things for 2021, 2022, etc., right all the way up to 2030 and beyond. And what's interesting is that I've built this big mountain for myself, as I know you know. We've been working together looking at this, and it's an incredible amount of work that needs to happen, that has happened. But what's interesting is that I'm looking well beyond that now. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm about halfway up the mountain, and then once I've achieved all of the things that I've set out in my vision over the next 12, 24 months, it's looking beyond. And it's really important to sometimes look back as well as look forward to appreciate how far you've come. It's all very well being incredibly busy and focus on the future, but sometimes you just need to step back a sec, pop your head out from this creative hurricane, I call it, pop your head back and look at all of the progress and all the trials and tribulations that you've faced, and appreciate how far you've come so that you can move forward and give gratitude. Because sometimes it is really, really important to give gratitude in order to allow yourself to move forward. So I think having it visually on your board, you can tick it off and go, bloody hell, that was hard work, but look how far I've come. And I think it's really important to see those milestones happening, as opposed to just like, oh yeah, I've done that now I move on.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And I would say we could all do well to, rather than hop onto Facebook to start looking at others and comparing ourselves to others, to hop into a gratitude journal, or as a little gratitude app you can get, and just start record those things and realize how far you've come, because it's not about anyone else. It's about you and enjoying the process of developing as a person. And yeah, it's too easy to just see how far you haven't yet come, and that's not fun.
Yeah. I keep a daily diary, Jackie, now because, first of all, there's so many things going on. I'm developing 37 units, and it's just a crazy amount of work that's going on at the moment. And first of all, it allows me to unwind and just dump all of the day's highs and lows, wins and losses, etc., into this diary. And also it helps my subconscious just to relax so I can sleep at night, so I don't have to think about all these things. But what I like... Exactly. And what I like to do is look back at a month or 6 months ago on the same date and just go, bloody hell, I was going through all of that at the time. And just puts it all into context because I've completely forgotten that problem now. But at the time, it was a major, major problem. And so when I face new problems, it's like, Angelos, are you really going to be thinking about this in 6 to 12 months? Probably not. So don't let it get to you too much, I think, yeah. Exactly, and it's really important to start that diary process, I think, because it also is a legacy, right? Your kids can appreciate how, if they're inclined to read it, they can appreciate just how far and how much effort that you put into achieving this business. And also, it's good for you to look back when you're old and grey and go, bloody hell.
I'm sure you'll turn it into a book as well.
Well, yes, that's
all in good time.
So, Jackie, just a quick one, really. What's the difference between a strategy versus a goal?
I think there's we kind of get trained about. Everyone knows about goal setting, and you hear about setting smart goals or smart objectives, so specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and sort of time linked. And that's how we generally get trained to set goals. Now, the problem with approaching goal setting in that way is it automatically pushes you to be very tactical. So you could go out off the back of today and say, I'm going to set a really great goal to get 1,000 new Instagram followers over the next month. It's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's realistic, and it's very time specific. But is it actually in any way related to where you're trying to get to? And that's the problem with approaching it in that way. So a strategy is going to be something that's much higher level, because if you set those very specific goals before you've actually taken a step back to say, what am I really trying to achieve? And what does the long-term strategy look like in order to make that happen? And across, it's normally the 5 key areas of marketing, sales, operations, financial management, and team. What does it look like across those areas? And then from there, coming back to say, what do I need to do first to start moving myself towards that? And if, for example, you're not going to find your clients on Instagram, you need to first of all say, right, who are my clients? Where are they going to find me? And if they're not on Instagram, getting 1,000 new Instagram followers is not going to help. Now, that's just a random example, but that for me is the difference between strategy and goal setting, is that you're approaching it from a high level down, and the other one is from the sort of the ground level up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. So talking about looking at it from a top-down point of view, as you know, we get bogged down with the day-to-day grind, lots of issues and problems and solutions that we need to find on a daily basis, weekly, monthly basis. And sometimes we just need to take a step back, right? So can you just explain to listeners at home why it's important to step back, maybe take a little bit of time out of the business, maybe for a few days, a week, whatever it is, and to analyse and see how things are going on and take a top-down perspective as opposed to just working in the business all the time?
I think we've kind of already touched on it in some way, and that is about perspective. If you are in the forest walking, you can't see the sky, you're not looking in the right place, and so you have to take yourself out of your day-to-day environment in order to be able to get perspective on where things truly are. And particularly if you've started the business and you're trying to scale it up, you're getting from being a one-man band, you maybe got a small team of people with you now. It's in order to be able to carry on growing that effectively, because you're probably still quite involved, you've actually got to just remove yourself from everything to reconnect with what you want. And you've already mentioned this, your vision will evolve and it will change over time. So forcing yourself to look back at your vision that you the marker in the sand you put before and say, is that still what I want? Because all we can do with our vision is put really as a hypothesis of what we think is what we're aiming towards. And you go out there and you start moving towards it and making it happen. But the reality of what that looks like may not be what you really wanted. So you need to make sure you've got that sort of cyclical process to keep going back and reviewing and evaluating, and they're trying to see those blind spots that you might be having. And it's easy to just be pulled in the directions of the people who are shouting the loudest around you. The builder's shouting on site, he needs you, building control needs you. So you end up firefighting. And so therefore you may miss looking after your team. So for example, your team, you want to nurture great talented people and you want them to grow and stay with you. But if you're so sucked into dealing with the day-to-day, you may not be giving them the attention and the nurture that they require for that to be the reality. So it's giving yourself the ability to spot and notice what you haven't taken note of because you're working on something else.
All right, Jackie, so I'm going to give you a scenario and see what your thoughts are on this. So a friend of mine, he's recently left full-time employment and he's starting up a handyman business. And at the moment, classic one-man band startup, he's completely overwhelmed with what's going on. I'm sure he's going to make a mega success of it because he's a great guy, but he's focusing on Facebook ads, he's focusing on his website and making sure that's absolutely fine. He's trying to market, he's trying to actually get the money in and get customers and referrals and reviews and all this mad amount of stuff that needs to happen when you start and grow a business. How does a person who's starting out grow from a one-man band to employing their first person like you've done, and now you've grown a massive team to support delivering your vision?
I think the first thing to say is start to look at what tasks you are consistently doing. So if you're doing some tasks over and over again every single week or every single day, just taking note of what these are, because if you've done them before, then you can start to hand them over. And I think particularly for your first hire or first couple of hires, the easiest way, and if you've never hired anyone before, I think starting with what you already know and passing that on is going to be the easiest way for you to start to let go, because you understand how you want it to work and then you can pass it over to someone else. So start to spot what those tasks really are. And they're probably some quite administrative tasks. They might not even be big. Like I think I often talk about diary management as one that can take a lot of time. Like if you're trying to schedule meetings with potential clients or keep up with current customers or book in jobs, like diary management can take up maybe 20 minutes of your day every single day, but it's not just one point during the day, it's splattered throughout. So starting to notice what those repeating jobs are and list them down, because they can start to form the basis of the first person that you hire. And if you're hiring someone for the first time, hire someone part-time. You don't have to go in the whole hog and hire someone full-time to start with. Get someone for a couple of hours a day. And that could be like a virtual assistant based in the UK, which is going to cost you more money, or you could look at outsourcing that overseas. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So that is how I would say to start if you're in that position.
Okay, that's really great advice. I mean, one of the things that I admire about you is that you've grown this great business, but everything is systemized. It's so well organized, and I really respect that, because ultimately you are creating this business to sustain your lifestyle, and that's going on holiday every X amount of weeks or whatever it is. And people, they dream of achieving that, but you actually do it and you live it. So massive respect to yourself for achieving that. So Jackie, just to summarise then, I guess the most important thing for someone out there who's listening to this, for this next year, 5 years, 10 years, to create a strategy that works for them, I guess, is to start writing it down, create your vision board, and really start thinking top level. Where do I want to be? Where do I want to see myself in the next 1, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, that's a great summary, to be honest. And I would say if you're at that point where, excuse me, you have got a team, it will kind of adjust, because when you're just starting, your vision is going to be very much around you and your lifestyle. So it's more of a personal vision with how the business fits in. But once you get past a certain point, you're going to want to have a vision that you can share more widely as well. So a vision that is appropriate for your whole team to see, so that everyone has got that clarity on what the business is wanting to achieve. And that will really help you to get the right talented people into your business and working for you. So having a strategy is not just for you, but it's so that everyone in your business, everyone in your team understands the purpose of why it's important to send that email or to reply to that client in that way, or to get that task done when maybe it's that they really want to finish for the day, because there's something much bigger that we're all aiming towards together. And so if you're already at that point of having that team, you need to start thinking about that differently. And for us, we've seen a huge difference in that. Like, I'm so proud of the team that we have around us. And it gets to a point that you can't systemize everything yourself anymore. As we grow, I'm really grateful now that I've got team members who are helping to actually lead the way on that systemization, because it's just outside the realms of what I've got capacity to do anymore. And so therefore, you just need great people who can help you to do that. So that vision and that strategy isn't just for you, it's for them as well.
That's awesome. I love it. Cool, Jackie. So I know you work with a lot of people to help them deliver their strategy and create their strategy. How do people get in contact with you, please?
So you can check me out, find out more at property-strategy.com. I've got all my social media links on there. Please connect, read the many, many blogs that almost broke the website. There's so many of them. We've got vlogs, and you can find out about the different programs that we offer. So we work exclusively with property investors, from entry level right the way through to advanced. And we have different products and services niched into you depending on what your level is. So yeah, check us out. You get in touch, send us an email if you've got any questions, comments, feedbacks, abuse, whatever you want to send. Go through the website, and we can't wait to hear it.
Cool, Jackie. Well, thank you so much for your time. Really, really enjoyed talking to you. And
thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely my pleasure. So, guys, we want to hear from you. What are your goals and strategies and visions for the next year, 5, 10 years? What do you really want to achieve out this next decade? Please share it with us at hello@yoursuccesspodcast.com, or share it with us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're everywhere. Thanks again, Jackie.
Thank you.
And I've been Angelos, and see you again on the next exciting episode of Your Success Podcast.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.